All right, we're going to talk about another bank that has deplatformed somebody or threatened to take money from somebody because of their political views. The person today is Kanye West, and the bank in question is JP Morgan Chase. This was confirmed on Twitter by Kanye West's friend Candace Owens. She is an outspoken critic of the Black Lives Matter movement. West also has right-leaning political opinions. And now JP Morgan Chase is saying, we no longer want to work with you. We're going to break this down because it's a troubling precedence to set when we're giving corporations power to make politics, to do politics, make political decisions about how our society should run. Now, West has made a series of controversial moves recently. The first was wearing a sweater that said "White Lives Matter." He told Tucker Carlson that for wearing this sweater in public, he was getting death threats even. That was a controversial thing to say. He talked on Tucker Carlson a few days after wearing that sweatshirt about a lot of his politics, in fact, and that was well received by some and not by others. Pretty much right down political lines, right? The next thing he did was tweet about his frustration with Jewish people as a group. This got him punished on both Twitter and Instagram, and now debanked. Here is the letter that Candace Owens put on her Twitter account. It says, "We are sending this letter to confirm our recent discussion with so-and-so." She redacted it, but it's not very, it's a little, it's fuzzy. So we know that person's name, I think, starts with a V or a W. I guess that's not. I'm just nosy. I guess that's not pertinent relationship or pertinent information, but it says that now the bank has decided to end relationship with Yeezy LLC and its affiliated entities. Now, the bank is not unbanking West personally. It's for his companies, particularly Yeezy LLC and other affiliates. Now, I want to talk about the context of a banking platform being able to either take your money or remove your ability to participate in the financial system for political viewpoints, because this is a slippery slope. Yesterday, we talked about PayPal being able to not like what you say at their sole discretion and reach in and scoop out $2,500 anytime they don't like what you have to say. Now, I want to admit there's a lot about Kanye West that I don't really understand. I'm not a consumer of his music, so I don't pay a lot of attention to what he does, and I don't watch the Kardashians. So I just normally don't care. But I watched him on Tucker Carlson last week, and I was surprised that I related very strongly to a lot of what he had to say. But then he turned around and posted this strange tweet about Jewish people that I cannot defend. So I'm just choosing not to show you that tweet. Actually, no, don't put it up. Sorry, you guys. I struggled with this. But then I came back around to, do you have to understand someone to defend their right to participate in society, right? Right now, someone sent me this article about how JP Morgan Chase is saying they don't want to work with Kanye West when he presumably has not done anything illegal other than just have opinions that people don't like. But if you want to put up this article on the screen, are we able to take Clayton's laptop?
Hold
the
on.
one I just sent you?
Oh, you texted it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Hang on 1 second before you take Clayton's screen. Because, JP Morgan Chase has reported to have some other quite controversial clients. This one in particular. Do you want to show that or should we not?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. So that's interesting, right? Why this person and not that person?
Right. This is, again, so now we get into the decisions of board members who they're going to keep on, who they're going to work with. So Jeffrey Epstein's okay in their mind.
It said, and this article says, despite internal warnings that he was doing illegal things, that actually not just saying offensive things, but doing illegal things.
And he was charged with crimes, and he pleaded guilty in 2008.
We don't know when the bank had these internal warnings, but if they think this person is doing, some things that are really illegal, like as illegal as it gets.
More illegal than what the banks were doing, or like just do they have to be a level above the illegal things that the bank does, or like
I don't know what the spectrum is
Yeah, I don't know. Driving us all into a financial crisis. I don't know.
Well,
no one ever went to prison for that in the United States, by the way.
Right. I mean, we can leave it to you to decide whether you like Kanye West, whether you like his ability to say these kind of things. And it's almost irrelevant, because what is the line we draw for social and financial participation? That's the question. Are the people that defend this, because I saw a lot of people on Twitter like, good, let him lose his bank, let him, wither and be quiet. Are the people that defend this saying that people whose opinions you don't like should not be able to earn a living?
Right, because be careful for what you wish for, because this is how it works, right? This is on the left. It was, glad that Donald Trump's been banned. That's what they would say, right? Glad we got him off of Twitter. That's what they said. And then suddenly, those on the left who were, those people who were had YouTube channels and other things who were calling out authority were getting banned, and people were taken down and deplatformed. It's like, now it's happening to them. So be careful what you wish for when you're going up against big tech or the big financial system in Wall Street.
But it's not just about, be careful, that could happen to you. It's also about the fact that the bank now has more power than the average voter. Because the point that some will make is, JP Morgan Chase, they're a private company. They can choose to do business with whoever they want. But the founder, John Piermont Morgan, was famous for saying, this was one of his most famous quotes, is, "I owe the public nothing," when he was dragged into hearings about how his bank responded to the financial crisis in the early 1900s. He was very like, let them, do whatever they want. I don't care. I can make money. It's my, this is the ethos that bank was founded on. But I can make an argument against a private company should be able to do whatever they want if that company has undue influence on the government through campaign contributions, which JP Morgan Chase does. Here, according to Open Secrets, is the political contributions that they made during the 2020 campaign election. It's close to $6 million. Out of 27,000 donor tracked, they are the 246th biggest. And they donated most of this money to lobbyists and individual campaigns, and they lobby on behalf of bills. So if they have political power, then you can't treat them as a private company that just should be able to do what they want. This is a different situation we have now, where banks have government power. So when a bank participates in the democratic process and then they kick someone out of their financial institution, what we're seeing is stakeholder capitalism take place. They're saying, we don't just work for our shareholders, we work for the entire community at large. And obviously this is a problematic way to be, because it's what Vivek Ramaswamy says in his book. It's called the Goldman Rule,
right?
Which is the guys with the gold get to make the rules, as opposed, get it?
Right.
Get it?
It's the Goldman Rule.
As opposed to the Golden Rule.
It's
It's a literary tool, right?
Right.
I have a question, though. So, if, let's say the banks all gang up on you, they all come up with this policy, and it's like, okay, you can no longer store money in our bank because you've said some hateful words, kind of like following the PayPal model or whatever. Is there a bank that exists that's like, okay, so all of these private banks won't accept you, but is there a federal one that would have to? Because if you're getting paychecks from your employer or something, there has to be a point where it's like, you have to have a bank in order to do that. So what would you do?
I'm glad you brought this up, because I was thinking this and then I forgot about it. And then I was paying attention to what Natalie was saying. And so I lost the train of thought, which was this idea of being unbanked. We've heard about this necessity of the reason we want to move to a digital currency, Elizabeth Warren, because so many millions of Americans are just unbanked, right? Unbanked. So if they're unbanked, they need to have an address. Yeah. Right. If they don't have a home address, they can't get a bank account, and they're relying on these, private banks. They're going down to their local banks to try to get a bank account. If there was some sort of a government, then that's what the government wants. They want you to be under their control. They want to have a government digital currency that is controlled by the government. So there's your bank. Oh, you won't be using Bank of America anymore. You'll be using the Fed's bank,
which tracks with what Elizabeth Warren wanted, which was federally run H&R Block type software, where you have to use the government's tax reporting software.
Right.
And so there would be no wiggle room to take deductions or not, or, defer depreciation or accelerate depreciation or anything like that.
Right.
So if they can bring it all in-house, they would be happy as a clam. But go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, what also doesn't make sense is it's like these banks are given this protection. It's a private bank, but they're dealing with federal money. That is a government thing. So it's like they shouldn't be able to keep us from it. It should be like we can have an account at whatever bank we want because that is our federal dollar.
Well, and they're FDIC insured, right? So you have the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which is a federally run insurance corporation that's involved deeply with the banks. And not to mention all of the hoops and hurdles as a regulatory body that you need to jump through in order to become a bank.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, it's totally intertwined with the United States. By the way, almost all of America's debt is to banks. All, the $31 trillion that America is in debt, it's all to these banks.
Yeah.
So the relationship is deep, right?
Right. So, I think the people who are sort of rooting for this because they have angst against Kanye West, they don't realize that what they're saying is, we are glad JP Morgan Chase has more power than the average person to harm someone's ability to live in society. And that is a problematic thing to say, whether you like them or it's actually short-sighted. As Ramaswamy writes in his great book, Woke Inc., he says a lot of the people that are, sort of liberals who like stakeholder capitalism, they're the same people who hate Citizens United, which permits corporations to donate to political campaigns and influence electoral outcomes, right? And so they're the ones who are like, no, corporations are not people. They should not have more power. Yet stakeholder capitalism is Citizens United on steroids. It not only permits corporations to influence our democracy, it demands that they do so by advancing whatever social values they choose. Ironically, those who are most vehemently proclaimed that corporations aren't people are the ones who now demand that corporations must act like people. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot say, oh, I'm glad because he said something that is anti-Semitic that he can't participate, that corporations stopped his participation in society, because capitalism should be able to handle that. Either you don't like what he has to say, so you stop following him on Twitter, you stop buying his music, and you stop buying his Adidas clothes, and that takes care of it, right? But instead, we want the rug swept out from under people so that they cannot support their own families. Well, we want corporations to do it for us.
Right. And it doesn't stop. It's the point is it's not going, as what Dr. Peter McCullough said on our show last night, we featured that, again, it doesn't just stop with a bank account, right? What about his mortgages? I mean, I don't know if he has mortgages, but the average American, right? Can they just cancel your mortgage? I mean, we know that they will stop people from getting mortgages. So now that you have a mortgage with a particular company and you say something that winds up on Twitter and you're controversial and you go viral because you were in a park yelling at a guy with a dog, like that Karen in Midtown Manhattan, regardless of whether you think that what she did was good or not, right? She got canceled in a big, big way, and she lost her job. And imagine then like a mortgage holder company's like, let's look into see if that Karen, who yelled at that guy with the dog, has a mortgage with us here at JP Morgan Chase.
Yeah.
Let's cancel her mortgage. Right. I mean, that's what's happening right now. It's not a fantasy world. Like, this is what's happening right now.
Yes. And it's sort of, well, it's a lot of things. It's not like feel good retribution. It should not be that. You should not root for injustice just because you don't like that person. Because if you were to replace this person with someone you did like that other people don't, and put this scenario on that person and you felt differently, well, then this is not right. And it's also sort of it's like a perversion of capitalism, right? Because like what I just said, Adidas is now stepping in and saying they are reviewing their clothing partnership with West, meaning they may pull the clothes before the public has a chance to decide if they want to boycott or not. And again, that's a perversion of capitalism. We should collectively decide. We like that guy and we want to buy more of his shoes because, yeah, he said that, or we really don't like what he said and we don't want those shoes. And that should take care of itself. We should not root for corporations to come in and say, I will subvert the will of the people. I will subvert the forces of capitalism. I'll take care of that. I'm not worried about Kanye West finding another bank or his ability to feed his children. If you look today, he told reporters that he's happy he's crossed the line so we can speak openly about things like getting canceled by a bank. He added that he is still the richest black man in American history. But again, what about the people who feel like him and are not the richest man in history? If a bank can cancel him, they can cancel those people. So who does it hurt more?
Right.
And then I think that if you couple this with the PayPal story, how PayPal is saying that they will take, not unbank them, but take money from them if they don't like those conversations, if at their sole discretion, they don't like what they say, then these are two major financial institutions saying, we're going to get involved with how you feel and think and what you say in order to participate in the economy. But now it does seem that PayPal may be walking some of that back. Some users on Twitter are reporting that they are trying to cancel their account. And PayPal is saying, well, if it's because of that terms of service, we're sorry. Take a look at this. And we will offer you $15 to stick around if you don't cancel said account.
And this is going out to a lot of people. A lot of people are receiving these today. Did you receive one?
No, I went in to cancel today, Philip. I'm going to go full screen on my screen here. So take my screen. This is the warning. Like if you go to customer service to cancel your account, it says an acceptable use policy update recently went out in error that included incorrect information. PayPal is not fining customers for misinformation. We're sorry for the confusion. And then when I tried, it says your account cannot be closed. Contact customer support. What? And when I did, I contacted customer support and they said it was because I have a transfer that's still in progress, which I do not. I have no transfers. I don't use PayPal. So now they're just making you go through customer support and even in order to even close it.
That's a pile of horse shit. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're lying to you. They're flat out lying to you.
Is the transfer that's in process them pulling $2,500 out of your account?
That could be.
Or maybe they're putting $2,500 into your account, or it's the $15 one that they're trying to get to you, so you won't cancel your membership with your plan with them.
Well, and the thing is, like, I removed all my bank accounts. I removed all my credit cards from there. So it's like there would be no transfer whatsoever. Everything says completed through my whole transaction history. So they're just now, and I don't know if they're doing this to everyone, but it seems now they're probably going to try to make it really hard for you to cancel because they're worried.
Because
Clearly they're worried. Yes. Get out of PayPal immediately.
That's like a gym membership that you could never get out of.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I once tried to cancel a gym membership. I signed up when I was at the University of Pittsburgh, and the only way I could cancel the membership was having to prove that I wasn't within like a 60-mile radius of any of their gyms, and they still charged me like a years-long membership. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous.
I once got out of a gym membership because I was pregnant. They were like, really, you need a doctor's note or some excuse, and I was like, I'm pregnant, here you go. And then they couldn't, and they just kept trying to say, can we charge you again now? I was like, doctor's note still applies. That's really one of the only ways to get. I wonder if PayPal will let me out if we get pregnant, honey.
Let's try it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That's my next strategy.
I have a couple. Yeah, I'm pregnant. And in 2022, they would say we're not going to challenge that. You know, you're going to say I'm pregnant. Yeah.
Go ahead, challenge me.
No, that's not a protected class anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
Especially not if you're a pregnant person,
a person who can procreate or whatever they're calling it now, right? I have a couple of thoughts on this. One is the 2008. So you talked about 2008. You talked about at the time the Jeffrey Epstein piece of this, right? So JP Morgan Chase saying no, and they were according to the notes I'm seeing, they were reviewing their accounts prior to this and right around that time, and they discovered during that time, because right around December of 2008, Bernie Madoff was another person who was doing some pretty darn shady things and laundering money using that JP Morgan account, right? So they had Jeffrey Epstein and Bernie Madoff, but Kanye West, I guess, is too controversial, so they shut him down. Like, think about that for a second. Yeah. Right? You know, Bernie Madoff and Jeffrey Epstein, they're okay with that after he had been already pled guilty to that. So this was after that. They had been reviewing their accounts after his 2008 admission of this. And this is just, again, ridiculous.
Unless there is something here that we don't see that was criminal activity. I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence of that, but I admit I am not the closest consumer of Kanye West's brand. So I don't know.
But if he was, we would know that, right? I mean, if he was convicted of, it would be convicted of something. So are they just allowed to make some determination on it? Again, I don't know. And then you talk about
he was a presidential candidate. He might not have been a legitimate one, but he was a presidential candidate. You would think he would not be able to have anything on his record to even be able to get on the ballot.
I forgot about that. I forgot
oh, right. Yeah, I forgot and he actually has said that he intends to run again in 2024.
Now, has Adidas canceled him?
They say they are reviewing the partnership. As of today, I was able to go on the website and order some shoes. I did not. They have really expensive little baby slides. They're like $40.
That might be the first time you've ever had shoes that you looked at in a shopping cart that you didn't buy.
I didn't buy any of them. No.
So I find it interesting on Adidas. First of all, if anyone knows the dark history of Adidas, of course, two of the founding brothers of Adidas were Nazis, and they had a feud in the family, of course, and they shut down the Adidas they shut down the Adidas factory and started making anti-tank weapons in Germany. So they were two members who were part of that party.
Yes.
So isn't it amazing? Like, they're going to review Kanye West, given their history. Like Adidas's history, Kanye West is too controversial for them.
Yeah, I don't want to expand on that. That seems dangerous, but also shocking.
It's history. It's true. Like, it's very easy to.
Yes.
Everyone knows the history of Adidas. If you don't, you can look it up. Absolutely, check it out. Yes, and as many people putting here, Addie Dassler, the Dassler brothers. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Yeah. So let us know how you feel about that. I feel extremely uncomfortable with the idea of unbanking people just for their political views. And I also feel uncomfortable at sort of the Twitter mob dunking on it. Like, good, get him off of, because again, you don't have to, you have to protect the speech that you don't like if you are a real free speech purist, which I guess everyone has forgotten in this day and age.
Yeah.
We just don't want to see speech we don't like.